Hello everyone, welcome to Hard Fork, where we talk about all things crypto, everything blockchain. I'm your host Shantanu. I'm at a very special edition of Hard Fork at Genesis DevCon, if you can see behind me. This is going to be India's largest blockchain developer conference yet. On this episode of Hard Fork, we are going to talk to somebody who's doing cutting edge research in the field of cryptography, on theory of computer science, on complexity theory. He's the senior researcher from Microsoft Research Lab in India, Dr. Satya Lokam. Satya, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So awesome to have you with us.
Thank you, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. It's actually research and everything is something very close to my heart, because I've not seen many people or not met many people who are doing research in India per se, but it's awesome to have you here. I have certain things which I wanted to talk about, and so here you are. I think the first thing that I want to ask about is the function of Microsoft Research Lab in India, and what is Microsoft doing your research into blockchain per se, and how does it affect India, if you can slightly tell us about it.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So at Microsoft Research Lab in Bangalore, we do research in all areas of computer science, and we try to have impact in three major directions. One is, of course, within the company to help Microsoft be future ready. And second, we contribute to the research community, to the scientific community, by addressing frontiers of our respective areas, and we publish in major conferences, and our colleagues have won all kinds of awards from research fields in which they work in. And the third, but most important, especially in the context of India, is a societal impact.
Okay.
We have a very vibrant group called Technology for Emerging Markets, and they address many societal challenges within India, within emerging economies all over the world, and they're very, very unique.
Okay. So an example of a societal challenge that you believe that you're working on right now, can you share with us?
So I must say that I'm one of the researchers who is a little bit far from working on societal impact areas.
Okay.
But we do have technology and scientific research that would hopefully help in in addressing societal challenges.
Okay.
For example, I think cryptography is a very important tool. Cryptography and security tools are essential in guaranteeing privacy and security for people. In identity management, like how do you build a private and secure identity framework, and how do you guarantee people are not badly affected by propagation of fake messages on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's very important these days.
And it has become kind of an interesting area in cryptography as to how do you make sure that bad fake messages don't propagate on WhatsApp, while at the same time not compromising end-to-end encryption that is such an important
on a messaging tool kind of stuff
that people want. So I think that the way I think about my research is I work, like you said, in cryptography and other areas of theoretical computer science to help build technological tools, and some of those technological tools would hopefully are useful in addressing societal challenges.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, coming to one of the societal challenges, of course, is the fact that we are entering a state of what is known as, something called stateless clients and what is known as shared economies, right? But the problem with such a technology when it comes in, is achieving decentralization, achieving scalability, all right? Within your research, how can this be achieved? And we can still have a decentralized economy or shared economy. What is Microsoft doing in that area? I mean, in achieving that, yeah.
So when you say decentralized, I'm thinking it's closely related to blockchains.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And so Microsoft does work as a company. It works again all the way from foundations of blockchains to applications of blockchains. Currently, the product groups, primarily Azure, has been offering blockchain solutions.
Yes, it does.
And there are also work in progress on building blockchains that have confidentiality guarantees, and those are primarily meant for business applications as opposed to cryptocurrencies. But in our lab, in research, we are definitely looking at core architectural challenges for blockchains. How do you come up with a blockchain that is scalable, like you said, with large transaction throughput, and also usable with technology that is not necessarily at cloud scale.
Okay.
And secondly, we definitely, like I talked about today, we definitely build cryptographic tools that would enable blockchains to be more private, more confidential, and more anonymous.
Using zero knowledge proof.
Using zero knowledge proofs, kinds of things. So I would consider what we do in Microsoft Research as foundations that help build the next generation of blockchain architectures and tools that will make blockchains more private and more scalable.
Private and more scalable. More private. I think the problem with the government is they don't want things to be private. So I'm not sure how he will be trying to.
So I want to make a distinction between being secret and being private.
Okay.
And also being transparent and being open for all.
Okay.
Right. So I think that there are subtle ways in which you can make distinctions between individuals, respecting individuals' privacy, at the same time making individuals accountable for their actions without compromising that privacy.
Interesting.
And I don't think it is one or the other. And many times institutions and as well as people tend to take the easy way out of choosing one or the other.
It should not be an option. It should be something which can be adopted without hurting the sentiments or of other side kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that especially when it comes to privacy, when it comes to this tension between privacy and accountability, privacy for what you want to do and accountability for what impacts your actions have. I think these can be balanced through technology. I believe that there are technological tools that we have available today that can be used to do this.
I'm sure you're doing that amount of research which can probably bring out some new thing.
I mean, it is still pretty early in the research community. There are very small number of papers, but traceability of WhatsApp messages is a good example. And similarly, complying with money laundering regulations versus managing cryptocurrency accounts is another challenge. And how do you balance between encrypted communications and the need for governments investigations into criminal activities.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think there are these tensions in a lot of spheres, and I believe that it is possible to achieve a balance.
Awesome. Dr. Satya, how much of your research, all right, is on cryptocurrencies? Well, this is something which, in India, not many people want to talk about cryptocurrencies because of, probably the good or bad reasons that we are in the situation. So how much of your research involves, cryptocurrencies per se?
So I should say that my research is more about cryptography than cryptocurrencies. I don't work on any particular cryptocurrency, but what I do in my research as well as my colleagues' research is very useful in building cryptocurrencies, especially when it comes to privacy and confidentiality, privacy and anonymity on blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum and so on. So our research is more about building tools, cryptographic tools that are useful in cryptocurrencies, and perhaps even more generally in blockchains.
Without
Zooming in primarily on cryptocurrencies.
Okay, so some things like zero knowledge proofs and
zero knowledge proofs is definitely one of the topics, and similarly, identity management. And protocols for verification of signatures and what kinds of signatures, signature schemes, digital signature schemes that you need in blockchains. So they all kind of go together in designing secure and private blockchains. And we also work on scaling blockchains, but that's less about cryptocurrencies, but more about the general blockchain architecture.
Which are probably good for industrial users and all that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Mostly, industrial use.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So while I was doing research for this meeting that we are having right now, I came across a word called crowd sensing in your profile, and it somehow looked very akin to something which I learned about 3 years back, which was on wisdom of the crowd, wherein you collect information from the crowd and you use that as an oracle and you create a data which is compatible and usable on a blockchain, and you can make analysis and you can do a lot of things from that. So I just wanted to understand, if I can use, how does it work on the blockchain research scenario, wherein crowd sensing can be used for making societal changes or overcoming societal challenges?
Yeah, I think that's very, very, very important question, and I think I feel very excited by application of blockchains to address societal challenges. You're right. I think there is wisdom in the crowds. There is in blockchains we say majority being honest as a valid assumption.
Absolutely. Yes.
And that assumption actually is very practical. And as a result, I think when you have public verifiability, which is then used to validate claims by people or organizations, that and you use this assumption that a majority of the public, majority of the citizens actually tell you the truth about what they see on the ground, can be used to validate claims made by, say, public officials or big organizations. And that information can be used in blockchains as recording in a tamper-resistant way. That's what blockchain technology provides us. In a tamper-resistant way, these validated claims that other people can use in order to make their decisions.
Yeah, interesting. Yes, of course. I mean, there's a scope in which probably, for example, I was speaking to somebody. I said, how can we collect the right information about pollution at a particular location? So, for example, we had a very bad situation in New Delhi NCR region, wherein the entire city was, down in smoke and smog. And so the idea was, that why can't we collect information from every smartphone, okay, and we can verify at every different location that this is the pollution and this is how the data, because we have a centralized data system. It says, okay, this is the pollution, it's 800 AQI or 600 AQI, the problem is there. So I think this will probably improve if blockchain in using these kind of wisdom of the crowd and crowd sensing technologies, where we can collect such data and put it over the blockchain.
So definitely, as
we can have better decision making capabilities when we have some information.
So there are two things. One is as a means of collecting data, using smartphones distributed throughout the society or throughout a particular city or a region is a very valid idea. But the second thing is this data, when it goes into blockchain, the strongest guarantees that we get from a blockchain is tamper resistance of this data. So which means that you don't rely on a single trusted entity to provide the public this data. And so you have better guarantees on the authenticity of the data when it goes into blockchain. But I also want to say that blockchain is more than just a tamper-resistant record of data. Blockchains have many more additional advantages compared to traditional technologies in making things both more transparent as well as more decentralized.
Yes.
And that decentralization is a strength that most of the existing technologies don't offer.
Okay, interesting. A burning topic these days, is when Google came up with saying that we have now solved the problem of quantum computing, and we have built something called on a 50 qubit computer that we've created. How? So let's come to the idea that they are saying that the quantum computing can break cryptographic codes or cryptographic protocols like SHA 256.
Sure. Yeah.
So is that really a threat, and does it really build on to that, or do we really have to have quantum resistant technologies and protocols coming in?
Yeah, so I think the answer to your last question, as a cryptographer, I would say yes.
Okay.
We need to be prepared for any potential threats,
okay.
And that's kind of how we think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, quantum resistant technology, quantum resistant cryptography is definitely a very hot topic of research.
Okay.
And if quantum computers do become realistic,
mm-hmm.
Then we are in big trouble.
Okay.
I mean, we are in big trouble, and depending on how soon they come,
mm-hmm.
we may not even have time to actually address that.
Okay.
I mean, all over the world. I mean, we would be in serious trouble if a quantum computer becomes realistic in the sense of usable on large scale problems,
mm-hmm.
say in the next 5 years.
Oh,
I think we will be in big trouble because almost every crypto system that we use today will be broken. Right. And so I think that we want to, as cryptographers, we want to be pessimistic about our capabilities of handling newer and newer attacks. Right. I mean, ideally, as a theoretical cryptographer, I want to take care of all possible attacks that can be mounted on a crypto system. So a quantum computer is a big threat to all of our existing crypto systems. So we definitely need to be prepared.
Okay. So
now, whether a quantum computer can realistically be available, in common consumer or even big organizations' hands in 5 years, that is difficult. At least it's difficult for me to speculate on.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel that let me put it this way: I feel optimistic in the capabilities of my colleagues who are working on quantum computing, that a quantum computer is not impossible,
mm-hmm.
and it may be, it may not be in the way that we imagine it today. It may take a different form. It may be a combination of classical and quantum technologies,
mm-hmm.
but I feel that quantum physics will be useful to speed up our computational capabilities in a remarkable way.
Yeah, I think we should be using quantum computing.
Not too far a future.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. We should be in the future. We should probably start using quantum computing into, things like probably trying to find out, what the black hole is all about. All right, and have more capabilities in, probably traveling to other planets. I mean, planetary travel. All right.
Yeah.
That's where probably you should be using it and not try to break, a SHA 256.
Well, so. No, I mean, first of all, yes, I mean, I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't know enough of quantum computing to predict what it can do. But what I wanted to also say is that if a quantum computer becomes available, then you can put restrictions on what it can be used for and what it cannot be used for. We are not putting any restrictions that people can't use computers to break into banks and people can't use computers to break into credit cards. So I think that once you have a tool, people can use it for good as well as for bad. And we don't even want to talk about what is good and what is bad. But let's say, as a cryptographer, my goal is to build secure crypto systems. And quantum computers can break the crypto systems that we currently have. And therefore, I want to be prepared with crypto systems that can protect us against quantum computers. That's my simple goal.
A good goal for that matter, because we just don't have to worry only about 51% attack. We have to worry about quantum attack too later on.
Yeah. I mean, all the blockchain technologies we have today are vulnerable
Yeah.
for quantum computing, I mean,
Okay.
against quantum computers, and therefore if we want any kind of blockchain technologies to be secure in the presence of quantum computers, we have to rethink many
entire-
of the cryptographic protocols that we are using today in
Okay.
blockchains, as well as everything else.
My final question before we close this episode, Dr. Satya, is something very close to my heart when I look at India as an area where we can do a lot of work and research on any subject matter for that matter. All right. Now, when I was very excited when I saw that there's a senior researcher coming to a blockchain conference and we're going to talk about blockchain. I've not seen many researchers here in India. Their work being used for other societal challenges or overcoming societal challenges, or any use for that matter. And I've also heard from people that there are not many grants that people get in India. So hence all the researchers, they probably have to travel overseas or submit their papers overseas and do it. My question to you would be, I mean, India as a nation, okay, we are huge, and there are many educated people here who really want to do good work. How do we inculcate this, this society wherein or this government or this political infrastructure wherein we can actually have more and more research happening in India, and we create an impact globally rather than the globe coming to India and we are just following what they are doing as such?
Yeah, it's a lot of questions.
Yeah,
But,
I'm sorry.
The theme of the questions is also close to my heart.
Okay.
Like I said, I was a professor before coming to Microsoft.
Yes.
So I really care about nurturing the next generation of researchers.
Yes, sir.
And I interact a lot with my colleagues in the academia, including at IISc where we are now, to collaborate, not only collaborate on research, but also work with students and organize events like workshops and conferences. So I think it is really important for us in research and academia to take this need very seriously.
Yeah.
And I feel very optimistic though that we are headed in the right direction.
Okay.
At least in the community of researchers that I know, there is a deep commitment to build a strong research ecosystem in India. And especially in cryptography, things have dramatically improved in the last. I've been in India for 13 years so far.
Okay.
And in the last 13 years, I think the cryptography community in India has had a tremendous growth in many sub areas of cryptography.
So I didn't even know there's a cryptographic community
Now
here.
there is a very vibrant cryptography community in
That's
India.
exciting.
And it is improving every year. And I say, maybe like 20 years ago, we had an extremely strong research ecosystem in theoretical computer science in India, and several remarkable breakthroughs in theoretical computer science actually came out of India. And Indian computer science community is well known for its strength in mathematical and theoretical aspects of computer science. And then that community is very strong. And the crypto community was catching up in some sense, but it has actually been progressing at a remarkable pace over the last 10 plus years. And so I can say honestly that we really do have an extremely strong crypto community in India now, among most of the academic institutes and of course Microsoft Research.
Wow, yeah. So I think we will see more researchers coming out of India, be it in cryptography, be it in theoretical computer science, be it in any other place. Unless it's absolutely true. There have to be thought leaders who get involved in creating that talent or nurturing that talent, and of course commit the time and resources required for that matter. I also want to come back to a point you made. Perhaps maybe I'll make a bit of a controversial statement about the dearth of support for research, primarily for faculty members, but also for students. I don't mean
necessarily in a financial sense. Actually, I think in a financial sense, at least from the time when I was a student here, things have improved a lot.
So the IITs and of the world, they do provide the grants required for research.
Yeah. In fact, I would say more than the availability of money, the restrictions, like you said about overseas travel, the restrictions to actually have truly international events organized in India, and the restrictions that would, or rather, the freedom. I don't mean intellectual freedom. I mean the flexibility, rather, the flexibility to participate in international research community. Is that support is still below par. I think that the talent we have, the research talent we have among the faculty and the students far exceeds the support infrastructure
that is required,
that they have.
Excellent. I think that's a very fair point to end this entire thing. We hope that the government will listen to this, that the people will listen to this, institution will listen to this entire thing, and look at how we can nurture the entire ecosystem in such a way that we have more research oriented work being done in India. And it's amazing talking to you, Dr. Satya Lokam. Thank you so much for giving your time to this show.
Thank you.
I look forward to interacting with you more and learning more from you. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye. So that was Dr. Satya Lokam for you guys, senior researcher from Microsoft Research Labs India. We were talking to him about various things, cryptography, various things that we can improve in India using research. And this is Shantanu Sharma signing off from Hardfork at Genesis DevCon. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.